We bought this 150-year-old farmhouse in the countryside of France and have been renovating it since 2019. Many of you have asked for a full house tour, or at least have asked to understand a bit more what this house looks like and where all the different parts of the house are. Our farmhouse is in Burgundy, and it's a traditional longère, as it's called, which is a very long farmhouse building with all of the different parts of the farmhouse attached to one another. So that means that the part where the farmers used to live is attached to the barn, which is attached to the stables, and then there's often also tiny things like a little sunroom or little sheds, and it makes for this one long building, which they call a longère, and it's typical for the region here in Burgundy. So when you hear me say the old house, I'm referring to the part where the farmer traditionally lived, and it's this part of the house, and we lived here when we moved in 2019. We've lived here for a total of 3 years without touching anything in here. We just gave it a fresh coat of paint, knowing that we would completely renovate this in good time. This is also the old kitchen, and it's at the back of the house. It's an attachment. This was unheated, so we were literally freezing here in the winter. But I've always really loved this part of the house, and I know we'll make it even more beautiful in the future. Now onto the former barn, which is now the kitchen. This is what it looked like when we bought the house in 2018. There was nothing, and we turned it into this beautiful kitchen that you've probably already seen. It was so much work, but we are so thrilled. Then there were the former stables, which we have turned into a holiday cottage. This is what they looked like in 2019. We could have literally put cows in here. Everything was still there. And we turned this into the holiday cottage that it is today. Nothing that you see in this space was originally here. Not even the fireplace, the beams over the window and the front door. Nothing was here. We recreated everything best we could, sourcing second-hand materials, sourcing the fireplace, sourcing old doors, which is why we've always been really happy to have the hangar, which I won't show you, but that's where we could store all of our finds and all of our junk. So what is going to be our next project? That is the question that Olav and I have been thinking about in the past weeks. We would love to build a second cabin, and we probably will, but we've decided to finish our house first. We really don't need all of that space, to be honest, although we do have more and more bigger groups of family visiting, which we absolutely love. So the old house has a living room, bathroom, and a bedroom with no windows. We use this as a guest room now, but the living room has been used for storage. Really, everything that we didn't know where to put has gone in there. But on the second floor, or the first floor, depending on where you live in the world, so that's over the living room, there is nothing. It is a grenier, so it's just an attic. It's not even airtight. There's lots of animals walking there, and we want to turn that into an office and music room. But before we can do that, we need to check the beams of the floor, so we're sure that that floor is stable enough, and we actually already know it's not. So we need to reinforce that floor. So we need to completely strip all of the downstairs so we can check all the beams and structure. So we're cleaning out the old living room, and we need to move everything elsewhere. So that means moving our washing machine, our dryer, all of our tools, everything that was there is now going to the old kitchen, which is now available since we now have our new kitchen. So as you can tell from my sighing and almost whining, it's just moving things around all the time. If anyone is ever going to ask me, what does renovating a house in France look like? I will tell them moving things from one place to the other, like 73 times. The good news, though, is that this forces me to finish off all the little details that I haven't finished for the kitchen and pantry, which means labeling all my stuff and you're going to laugh about this, finally getting my spice jars sorted. I bought these really beautiful little spice jars, and then I had labels custom made by someone here in France so that I can really finally have some decent organization in my kitchen. And that just feels like such a luxury after having moved kitchens, I don't know how many times in the past 5 years. I think I see this with every room and every space and all the time, but the pantry is still not entirely finished. Olav still needs to put in the ceiling there, but since all of the pipes and plumbing and electricity and whatnot runs through there, he's still not able to do this. But we did do some other final things that we still needed to do in there. So like I said, I organized my jars, stocked up because a lot of our food storage was in the former living room in the old house, and it now needed to go into the pantry. We have also put all my copper and my clean cooking pans and skillets in my kitchen that were all still in storage. We also put the freezer in the pantry now, and many of you have asked, where is your freezer? Where's your fridge? They are both in the pantry and not in the kitchen, and I have to say, I am so happy with this setup. And we also finally brought our water filter back that we put away when we moved out of the old kitchen, and we didn't really have a good place to put it in the cottage when we lived there temporarily. So I am so happy to have this back now. And maybe you'd already noticed the tiles there. That's where the wood-fired stove is going to go. So Olav is preparing that. So to sum it all up, this is what the house looks like. There are sheds all the way up north of the house. Well, it's south in this picture. Then there's the old house with the old kitchen, our new kitchen and a sunroom, and the cottage and the hangar. And then there's the garden with the swimming pool, and behind the swimming pool, overlooking the farm fields and the forest, is where we built our first cabin. So there you have it. I hope this clears any confusion you may have had. I also want to share with you that just talking about our next plans, it sparked so much creativity and plans and ideas for our old house, so our coming salon, living room, and the offices upstairs, and our bedroom will be over the new kitchen. There are still so many beautiful spaces that I get to design, so I can't stop the creative flow. Once Olav talks about these things, I start designing in my head. I can't stop it, and I'm fully enjoying that process.